Pokémon is a franchise all about building friendships with your Pokémon and using their power for good. But this game is different, because in this game, you actually play as the bad guys. You are Team Rocket, stealing Pokémon, committing crime, and evading the police while attempting to overthrow the region. So, I played this entire game with one goal: to become the most heinous villain in the entire Pokémon universe. Here's what happened. The game begins with Team Rocket Executive Petrel informing us that we're officially recruited as Team Rocket Grunts. Following that, we're given our very first Pokémon. And naturally, I'm sure it's going to be something evil, destructive, downright terrifying, and... You've got to be kidding me. So, you want Rattata, the rat Pokémon, as your starter? No. Absolutely not. No? Well, too bad. You're getting it anyway. Fine. So, armed with our first criminal, a Rattata named Ivan Marat, after being given the HM for Fly, it was time to begin our first mission: stealing a Pokémon. Although, we're told by our fellow recruit, Ronnie, that since we're still just a grunt, we can only steal from children and the elderly, or, as I like to call them, easy targets. After walking through the city, we spot the perfect target. See this adorable little girl enjoying her time in the sunshine? Yeah, we're about to rob her. Oh, hello. Do you want to play with me? Sure! Let's play Pokémon Heist. I've never played that game before. Let me show you how it works then. The little girl only has a Pidgey and a Spearow, both of which our Rattata can breeze through with a few quick attacks. Once she's defeated, we hold her down. Oh man, this game is absolutely brutal. Anyway, now that she's defeated, we can steal one of her Pokémon, which is great. Why catch Pokémon and train them like a loser when you could just take them for free? So, after pocketing ourselves a brand new Spearow, our team size had doubled, and we had completed our very first heist. I don't like this game. Somehow, our newest recruit is capable of learning Fly. So, after miraculously flying on Spearow over to Mount Moon, once here, we're given our next mission: to assist in the retrieval of the rare fossil Pokémon from inside Mount Moon. And if that sounds familiar, it's because this is the exact same as Pokémon Fire Red, except from the perspective of Team Rocket, which is honestly so cool. Anyway, before heading into Mount Moon, I stepped into the Poke Center, where the locals are not exactly very warm. Have I got just the deal for you, laddie? I'll let you have a secret Pokémon, a Magikarp, for just $500. $500? Damn it, I should have been the type of criminal who actually makes money, like a politician or something. As it stands, our team of criminals are looking very underwhelming. But after a little training inside Mount Moon, our team had gained a few extra levels. So we begin proceeding through the cave and start hearing rumors about a super strong trainer that's been wiping out the grunts. But honestly, that doesn't really bother me. I'm a criminal. If I run into some strong trainer, I'll just break their legs with a crowbar. Seriously. This whole Pokémon thing is easy if you just add in a little assault. After continuing through the cave, eventually we find the fossils. So, Ronnie heads back to report our findings, leaving us to guard them. And it's here that everything goes wrong, because he emerges, Trainer Red. Without even saying a word, we're forced into a battle against the most menacing 10-year-old I've ever seen. And to make matters worse, this kid then whips out a level 25 Charmeleon. Are you kidding me? Obviously, our team consisting of 2 level 8s are entirely unequipped to deal with this, as both of our Pokémon are quickly slapped into the dirt. Having lost, we're just shoved aside, as Red then proceeds to take our precious fossil. Wait, so you got jumped? Did you even use our all-powerful secret Pokémon trainer technique? You mean the crowbar, sir? Of course I mean the crowbar! I didn't get the chance! He was really scary! You got jumped by a 10-year-old. A 10-year-old! Just let that sink in. Ugh, I swear I'll get my revenge on that child. With our criminal pride now in the mud, we returned back to Team Rocket HQ, where we're summoned to Giovanni's office, and he is not pleased. I can't believe this. Sir, I even tried the crowbar technique, and crowbar technique failed? Good God, this kid must be a monster. The conversation with Giovanni continues, and we learn that the Kanto starters are considered warfare Pokémon, which raises serious questions as to why Red and Blue have them in their possession. Although, I don't know about you guys, but I don't exactly think of a warfare Pokémon when I look at Squirtle. Anyway, the gym leader Blaine then enters the chat. Turns out he's actually been working for Team Rocket printing illegal Porygon. He claims that he needs to lay low for a while and can't take on any more illegal jobs. And when he suggests that Team Rocket instead work with Professor Oak to print Porygon, Giovanni loses his mind, goes full meltdown mode, calling Oak a filthy traitor. There's obviously some more juicy lore behind that, which I'm sure we'll learn about later. For now though, we're given our next mission, to seek out the scientist Bill and have him print our Porygon. And if he says no, I'll give him an offer he can't refuse. So now we're headed for Cerulean City to find Bill. And after beating up an old man and stealing his pension, we use his money to commit a little good old-fashioned bribery, so that the border guard will let us pass. This lets us quickly move through Saffron City before heading north towards Cerulean. On the way though, we have a brief stopover at this building on Route 5. You may recognize it as the daycare building, but let me tell you, this place is a nightmare, because while it may look like a regular daycare, with this unsuspecting trainer happily dropping off his innocent little Nidoran, this building is actually owned by Team Rocket. Greetings, sir. Some more fresh meat for you. In more ways than one. What do we got here? A male Nidoran? Go throw this little fella in the breeding pit. Oh god. Oh no. The breeding pit? This whole operation just got so much darker. After picking up a parcel of bribes to tempt Bill with, we headed north into Cerulean City. First, I tried challenging the gym, but that's not possible without a valid trainer card. And look, so far, I've been walking around using my legs like some kind of loser. But that's about to change, as now it's time to steal myself a bike. Hand over a bike right now, or I'll do something you're not gonna like. Oh yeah, tough guy? Like what? I'm gonna leave a really bad review on your business. Are you kidding me? Not only did I lose to the shopkeeper, but he robbed me in the process. Just wait until he sees the scathing review I wrote. That'll teach him. Besides this shop, another business that I do not like is the business of Christmas shopping. The hardest part about the Christmas season is deciding what gifts to buy. How are you meant to know what a distant relative or co-worker would want? However, I have the perfect solution to that problem thanks to our channel partner, Sakura Co. Seriously, Sakura Co is a Christmas cheat code. They collect delicious, authentic Japanese snacks from across the country and ship them directly to your door, making it the perfect Christmas present for anyone in your life who has an interest in Japan or simply likes snacks. Gifting someone a box of chocolates from the grocery store is low effort and a little embarrassing, but gifting someone a box full of Japanese snacks that they've never even tried before is far more exciting and will make you look like an amazingly thoughtful gift giver. Each box includes 20 of the tastiest snacks, along with a piece of tableware and a guidebook that explains what each item is and where it's from. You can buy a single box or a monthly subscription if you'd like to give someone a gift that keeps on giving for months to come. Each month, there are new snacks and a new theme to enjoy, and for me, opening up this box has quickly become the highlight of each month. So make your Christmas shopping easy by checking out Sakura Co. And to help you save some money, use my link in the description or enter the code Keegan at the checkout to save $5 off your first box. On top of that, it also works with the Tokyo Treat boxes, so give the gift of Japanese deliciousness this Christmas with Sakura Co. Anyway, clearly our team wasn't doing too hot, so I needed to steal a Pokemon from the next trainer I see. Something powerful, something evil, something that will strike fear into the hearts of our enemies. A Pokemon just like Weedle? Really? Look, we don't have many other options, so I begrudgingly took the pathetic little Weedle and continued battling my way across the Nugget Bridge, during which our newest recruit quickly evolved into its final form, B. Bundy the Beedrill, our only Pokemon who actually looks capable of committing murder with its incredibly stabby-looking hands. After continuing to push past the Nugget Bridge, eventually we arrive at Bill's house. Oh, hey Clefairy, this Pokemon appears to be cowering in terror. Dear God. What kind of twisted experiments did that freak Bill put you through? After giving the freak his package and offering him the job, he eventually accepts the offer, so long as Team Rocket continues to send him samples of rare Pokemon. However, then he adds one more interesting condition for taking on the Porygon printing job. He hands us a cell phone and asks us to be his secret point of contact in Team Rocket. He also briefly mentions something called the Mewtwo project, which I'm definitely interested in learning more about. So basically, we're a member of Team Rocket, but also apparently an inside man for Bill. And on top of that, we still don't know how Professor Oak or Project Mewtwo fit into all of this. Regardless, with our mission accomplished, we began returning back to Cerulean and wait, what? Blue? We're forced into a battle against a 10-year-old for the second time, but unlike Red's monstrous team, Blue's levels are a lot more comparable to our own. With 2 flies from Spearow, our bird once again takes to the sky, cleaning up Blue's Pidgey no problem. He follows up with Rattata, and after Blue drains his super potion to heal back up, Spearow finally goes down. However, our own Rat can quickly settle the score with 2 quick attacks, and since the Abra that follows has literally no attacks, we can freely switch into our brand new Beedrill. And after Beedrill murders the defenseless Abra in cold blood, reminding everyone just how much of a criminal we can be, Blue brings out his ace Pokemon, Wartortle. This thing is insanely bulky and strong. There's no way that we can overpower it, so I just start spamming Poison Sting, and we get the poison! This criminal slice of luck allows us to outlast the wartime turtle, giving us a very clutch win over Blue. But then, something strange happens. Having been beaten, Blue responds by simply stating that he still isn't good enough and needs to get stronger, which sounds very unlike the Blue that we recognize from the original story. One thing that hasn't changed, however, is that our friend Ronnie is still an idiot. I mean, the guy just committed a crime and is utterly shocked when the police find out. But how did the police find out? What did you expect, Ronnie? You just committed armed robbery during business hours on a Wednesday. Of course the police were going to find out. After fleeing the scene, we return to the Rocket hideout. On the TV, there's a report about the theft. Apparently, a witness spotted a man with green hair and black pajamas at the scene. Wonder who that could be. This leads the police to figuring out that Team Rocket were the perpetrators. The champion and leader of the region, Lance, then responds by vowing to shut down organized crime, as well as making every member of Team Rocket a wanted criminal, whereby every single theft will increase our bounty. Gee, thanks a lot, Ronnie. Archer seems to imply that Lance isn't actually a good guy and is merely acting for the cameras. So, that makes this whole web of a story become even spicier. Regardless, our mission of recruiting Bill was a resounding success. So, Archer decides to assign us another important mission, this time assisting with a smuggling operation in Vermilion City with the very corrupt gym leader, Lieutenant Surge. So, after collecting the vitamins that we're going to use to pay Surge, we headed south through the underground path before arriving in Vermilion City. After meeting up with the Rocket admin that we're assisting, we slice our way into Surge's gym, where we confront the big man himself. Mr. Surge, how do we get as big and as strong and as cool as you? Haha, well kids, it's all about taking your vitamins, eating your vegetables, and years of uncapped steroid abuse. Isn't that right, Raichu? Chew. After handing Surge his medicine delivery, he tells us that we need to go and pick up the smuggled Pokemon ourselves directly from the SSN cruise ship. So, we storm onto the boat and begin looking for our precious cargo. But instead of finding the smuggled Pokemon, we find something far more interesting. A confrontation between Lance and the Hoenn champion, Steven Stone. And look, this is a long conversation with a pretty big lore dump. So let me give you the highlights. Lance is the current leader of Kanto, but the people don't approve of him as much as they did his predecessor. Supposedly, the people loved him, and that man's name was Samuel Oak. Despite appearing to just be an old man researching Pokemon, Lance made sure to ban Oak from ever battling again as punishment for his decision to surrender during the war. And when Steven asks why Oak surrendered, Lance claims that Oak was a coward who feared for his own life. Whether that's true or not, we have no idea. But after Lance leaves, Steven confuses me for a waiter, which is incredibly insulting to my criminal pride. Anyway, we continue our mission, searching for the smuggled Pokemon, only to find them inside the office of the ship captain. Turns out, he's discovered our little smuggling operation and is not pleased. The old man forces us into a battle, and let me tell you, I got crushed. This guy has 4 Pokemon, all of which are a higher level than mine. While I was able to pick up a few KOs, ultimately, his Krabby was a bridge too far, as Ivan Marat was buried by one final mud shot. Yet again, we had lost. But what do us criminals do when our back is against the wall? That's right, we improvise, we adapt, and most importantly, we steal from the elderly. So, after beating up this old geezer, we can steal one of his fire types. And while most people would probably take Growlithe here, that's the Pokemon used by the police. So, as a fearsome criminal, naturally, I took Vulpix. And while training up our new dog, both Spearow and Rattata reached level 20, giving our team some huge upgrades in Fearow and Raticate. So, with our new and improved Legion of Doom, we returned to the SSN for a rematch with the captain. And this time, things went very differently. Because it turns out our new Fearow is a stone-cold killer, sweeping through the captain's entire team all on its own. With the old captain now defeated, I swiped his tentacle, naming it the Scranton Strangler. After Proton hits the geezer with some poison gas, he becomes incredibly ill, giving us the time that we need to collect our smuggled goods. And with that, we've completed another major mission. So, we return to Rocket HQ, where Giovanni congratulates us, before saying that Red is probably nothing that we have to worry about. Yeah, I'm sure Red's not a threat to Team Rocket whatsoever. Anyway, we're then given our next mission. Mr. Fuji is holed up in the Pokemon Tower and has cut off Team Rocket's supply of Cubone Skulls, which are very valuable. Go teach that Fuji a thing or two about messing with Team Rocket. You got it, boss. Want me to shoot him? Jesus, no! I just meant to beat him in a Pokemon battle or something. Are you sure? Because I've got my Glock right here and put that thing away and just get out of here. After a short journey east through Saffron City and Route 8, we arrive in the very creepy Lavender Town. And look, Team Rocket may not have the best reputation here. No, please don't kill any more of our Pokemon. Oh, don't worry, little girl. Team Rocket aren't that bad. Really? Absolutely. Oh my god, a Cubone! Quick, kill it and harvest its skull! Once inside the Lavender Tower, we meet Blue. However, he's just straight up too sad to battle because Red literally killed his Raticate. Like, my man just beat his Pokemon to death. Raticate was done for. Oh, so can we eat it? Blue also expresses how much he despises Red, as well as how Oak shows so much favoritism towards Red, despite Blue being his actual grandson. And finally, he vows to become Pokemon champion to prove Professor Oak and everyone else wrong. So, after that monologue, we begin ascending the Pokemon Tower, beating up and robbing a bunch of freaky emo trainers along the way. And after slapping around the sacred ghost of Marowak at the final stairway, it just starts hurling insults at me. Thou art evil! 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 Do you have any idea what that's all about? Quick! Kill it and harvest its skull! Nope, not a clue. Once at the top of the tower, we confront Fuji, who refuses to back down and instantly forces us into a battle. Oh my god, that sprite is so adorable! Which is why it's such a shame that I have to beat him to a pulp. Despite Fuji having a pretty considerable level advantage here, once the Scranton Strangler sets up a layer of toxic spikes, this fight becomes pretty manageable, with Fearow outpacing the Marowak that Fuji leads with. From there, the rest of his Pokemon aren't overly threatening, as our gang of criminals slap them straight into the dirt. Having beaten up yet another senior citizen for fun, we're given the option to steal one of his Pokemon. And look, there are some great options here, but what could possibly be more evil or more downright disrespectful than stealing a Marowak and making it work for Team Rocket? That is pure evil, and I am all about it. So, with Yo Mama the Marowak conscripted into our roster, now we finally had a full team of 6. Why are you here? To detain me? To kick me out? Yep. You pretty much got it spot on. Fuji gives us a little more lore, stating that Giovanni had previously tried to take down Lance using the Kanto army. Fuji also drops the bomb that he worked on the mysterious Mewtwo project, and while he's a different man now, he refers to some abomination that they created back then, calling it the root of all evil. But before we can learn any more, Archer interrupts with orders from Giovanni that he's to take over here and we're to head back to HQ. So, we begin descending the tower with Blue. You Rockets are bad, but you're fighting for something too, aren't you? That's right, son. We're fighting for what's right. We're fighting for the truth. We're fighting for money. On our way out, we run into Professor Oak, but once he realizes that we're with Team Rocket, the professor instantly flees. Oh man, I thought I was gonna get to beat up another old man today. Anyway, with our mission complete and having learned some extra lore, we began our journey back to Rocket HQ. However, just as we approach the entrance, Red appears. I absolutely don't want to throw hands with him again, so we just let him go right on by before heading into the base. Ronnie, what happened here? Dude, he knocked us out. All of us. Even the boss. That kid is superhuman, man. Turns out, Red raided our base and squad wiped everyone. It was a beatdown. After making our way into the boss's office, we find Giovanni seething, pacing around like a madman. A child! I mean, what in Arceus's name am I to make of this? But sir, did you use the crowbar technique? Of course I used the crowbar technique, you nitwit! Amidst his meltdown, Giovanni decides that it's finally time for us to learn the truth about what happened 11 years ago. So many of our questions were about to be answered. Toward the end of the war, Kanto's side was struggling. So the brightest scientists of the entire region were assembled to form a plan of attack. And so, once Dr. Fuji had assisted with the capturing of Mew, the scientists, led by Professor Oak, commenced work on a secret new project. But there was a problem. As powerful as Mew was, it was far too soft-hearted to participate in the war. So, Oak formed a new plan to create a genetic clone of Mew, one without empathy. The name of this operation? Project Mewtwo. Giovanni, as the richest man in Kanto, as well as a member of the Elite Four, funded this secret project. With Oak, Blaine, Fuji, Bill, and a man named Shigeki on board, they got to work. However, they failed, producing nothing but dopey little dittos. But one of the subjects was different, a strange creature that miraculously retained the strength of Mew. Although, this mysterious subject, known as the Catastrophe, broke free, escaping in a violent rampage. Disheartened, but not ready to give up, the scientists pursued a new plan to create a clone of Mew using human DNA. With the exception of Oak, all of the scientists contributed their own DNA in the traditional circle jerk formation. And this time, the plan worked. Mewtwo was born, a cold-blooded, psychic-type killer. Despite that, Mewtwo refused to be used as a military weapon. It rebelled, destroying the lab before escaping to a cave in Cerulean City, where it remains to this day. With that, the Mewtwo project had truly failed. Oak no longer believed in Kanto's ability to win the war, surrendering to Lance and his Johto army. The war was over. All the Kanto scientists would ultimately pledge their allegiance to Lance, with the exception of Shigeki, who strangely hasn't been seen ever since. And so, feeling betrayed by Professor Oak, Giovanni vowed for revenge, thus birthing the almighty criminal organization known as Team Rocket. So that is a lot to take in, but it does raise some important questions. Like, what happened to Shigeki, and what is Professor Oak really up to? Well, Giovanni has the exact same question, so he assigns us our next mission, to investigate Pallet Town ourselves. Firstly, to learn whatever we can about the mysterious trainer Red, as well as investigate Oak's lab, and find out what his true intentions are. If that means resorting to force, then so be it. Don't worry, boss. Beating up the elderly is my specialty. Oh, and on top of that, we're also promoted to Rocket Admin. Now we can even steal from women and teenagers. I'm finally getting some recognition around here for all my crimes against the elderly. That was a lot to take in. But now we have our new mission. So I headed for Pallet Town. First, flying to Mount Moon, before heading south through Pewter City, as well as Viridian. On the way, we briefly run into Giovanni's son, but he and his daddy issues quickly run off, leaving us to continue south before eventually arriving in Pallet Town. During a short stopover at Red's house, I make sure to leave him a little present on top of his pillow. Serves you right, nerd. Once inside the lab though, we unfortunately learn that Professor Oak isn't home right now, and I was starting to get some pretty good intel from his granddaughter, Daisy, about Oak being a lousy father and husband. But then, Ronnie and his big mouth walked in, spilling the beans that we're actually here to interrogate and beat up the old man. Daisy reacts to this by forcing us into a battle, but her team isn't overly threatening, so we handle it with ease. After stealing her Chansey, who I name Hamburglar, before sending it to the PC, Ronnie then does the wildest thing yet, because this lunatic then hyperfangs a defenseless girl. Ronnie, what is wrong with you? Thankfully, Daisy's not dead, but I'm pretty sure she's close to it. After returning to the base, Ronnie gets rightfully grilled by Giovanni for having an IQ equal to that of a garbage bag, and somehow this idiot still thinks he's going to get a promotion. Anyway, Ronnie's lack of brain cells aside, remember our old pal Blaine, the gym leader working with Team Rocket? Well, apparently he's not picking up our calls, and since Oak is nowhere to be found, in the meantime, we're assigned a new mission to find Blaine and give him a little beating. You know, the standard elder abuse. My specialty. To help complete our mission, we're given the HM for Surf, which we can then use to traverse the ocean south of Pallet Town. Along the way, our team gets some big evolutions with Tentacruel, as well as Ninetales, thanks to a Firestone that I bought in the department store. So, with our team fully evolved and looking stronger than ever, we arrive in Cinnabar Island. And look, This section of the game is relatively straightforward. Just like the original game, we find Blaine hiding out in the basement of the Pokemon Mansion. He tries to fight back, but his fire types are ultimately no match, as we quickly slap him around. After the fight, Blaine reveals that during the Mewtwo project, Oak was also working on another project in secret inside a hidden lab, and it sounds like it has something to do with the Catastrophe. Regardless, with Blaine beaten down, he begs for forgiveness and has no choice but to redeclare his loyalty to Team Rocket. With yet another pensioner brought back in line, we headed back to Celadon to report our success to Giovanni. And at this point, Giovanni announces that Team Rocket is going to launch our biggest operation yet, an attack on Silph Co. See, Silph has recently begun testing a top-secret new innovation, the Master Ball. And whoever controls the Master Ball can supposedly catch and control Mewtwo. So, we can't let it fall into the hands of Lance and desperately need to secure that power for Team Rocket. So, Team Rocket was ready to take over the Silph building. We stormed in like real gangsters, searching the entire building, looting them of their precious valuables, while also using a card key to lock up all their top scientists, who are now hostages of Team Rocket. Although, I don't know who the real villain is here, because these scientists use a Hypno, which is definitely giving off some red flags. Once the building is completely under our control, it was almost time to confront the CEO and demand our Master Ball. Oh, Keegan, hey, hand me that card key. I'll go return it to the other Rocket admins. Fine, but you're not gonna go get beaten up by a trainer and lose that card key, right, Ronnie? Gotta go. Anyway, after another strange run-in with Professor Oak, he just pieces out like a Beyblade, clearing us to make our way to the CEO. However, Bill is already here. He then reveals that he intends to take the Master Ball to capture Mewtwo for himself. Naturally, we refuse to back down, so the scientist challenges us to a battle. Oh god, he's not elderly! My one weakness! Well, that and being severely underleveled. Turns out, our team of criminals are way behind the level curve, meaning that, while the battle was still close, Bill proceeded to utterly slap my Pokemon around, one after another. Once again, we had been beaten to a pulp. However, that wasn't going to stop me. I hit the books, I studied hard, and consulted with the greatest Pokemon minds possible to form a new plan. So, with my renewed focus, I once again stepped up to Bill. Alright Rocket, I know you've got a new plan, but I'm ready for anything. Prepare for battle. No, I've decided that I'm just gonna break your legs instead. Wait, what? You can't do that. I can, and I will. I'm a criminal, Bill. Did you really think I would follow the rules? Now give me those legs. After Bill's beatdown, we steal his entire net worth of $180, which is pathetic, before crawling away like the poor little coward that he is. Giovanni soon arrives and is very pleased with our work. So pleased, in fact, that he pulls us aside, in the middle of an active hostage situation, mind you, to tell us that we're doing a great job before promoting us to Rocket Executive. And, you know, getting to steal Pokemon from almost anyone is great and all, but you know the greatest gift of all? We get another crowbar! Giovanni, this is the best day ever. I promise to never let you down. Having been dismissed from our duties, we begin descending the building. But as soon as we leave, Red returns. And with our newly acquired Rocket Executive powers, our first order of business is to step aside and just let Red walk right on by. I really didn't deserve that promotion, did I? Although, immediately after, we receive a call from Bill. He tells us to drop whatever we're doing and to come meet him on Cinnabar Island. Despite the fact that we just broke his legs like 2 minutes ago and that this absolutely feels like a trap, we take the Team Rocket private jet on a direct flight over to Blainstein's Island. Once there, we enter the lab where Bill is waiting alongside Fuji and Blaine. The Rocket is back to steal my pension again! Quiet, Fuji. If Keegan stole candy from one of your orphans, I'm sure he's sorry. I did steal their candy, and I'm not sorry about it. See? Water under the bridge. Plot-wise, this is where things get a little strange, because despite having just beaten Bill to a pulp, he asks for our help. And apparently, we have zero allegiances to Team Rocket, because we're just rolling with this blatant betrayal with no convincing necessary. Regardless, since Bill couldn't obtain the Master Ball, entirely thanks to me breaking his legs, now he wants our help in building a new one. And while he doesn't believe that a Master Ball could catch Mewtwo, he does believe that it could catch the Catastrophe. Despite the heinous treachery that this would entail, Bill promises me a huge reward, which I could only imagine would be some kind of additional crowbar crafted from precious metal. I'm in. To craft the ball, we need to collect some materials. First, a purple apricorn, planted within Bill's secret herb garden in the Viridian Forest. Then we head to Celadon to steal a necessary piece of Silph tech from inside the Rocket HQ. But once we arrive, Giovanni is having a meltdown because a single 10-year-old, the one that we let by completely uncontested, managed to crush all of Team Rocket and single-handedly thwarted our plan of obtaining the Master Ball. And when he finds out that Ronnie was the one who lost the keycard that Red used to reach the CEO, Giovanni whips out his Nidoking. And let me tell you, I thought that this was it for our boy Ronnie. He finally went too far this time, but instead, Giovanni just kicks him out of Team Rocket, telling him to never show his face again. Personally, I would have buried him in an oil barrel deep in an ocean trench, but that's just me. Basically, Giovanni's plan is to relocate all of Team Rocket to the Viridian Gym for one final stand against Red when he inevitably tries to earn the final gym badge. So, with the Rocket HQ now empty, it's pretty straightforward for us to steal the Silph technology that we need before returning to Cinnabar Island and handing the materials over to Bill. And before long, the Master Ball had been created. But there's a problem. The only man who could possibly help us find the Catastrophe is Shigeki, a guy who hasn't been seen in 10 years. Shigeki? Okay, I have 2 questions. Yes, he is an old man, and no, you cannot beat him up. I have no further questions. Anyway, Bill has an insane plan to find this guy. He's going to send me to find Mewtwo and ask it where Shigeki is. Since Mewtwo was created using some of Shigeki's DNA, Bill believes that its psychic powers could be used to track down the missing scientist. Great, so you guys are sending me straight to my death by making me confront the strongest being known to man. Yep, that's pretty much it. Yeah, no, you got it. Why though? Is it because I individually beat up and robbed all 3 of you? Yep, that's pretty much it. Yeah, no, you got it. So, Bill hands us a Master Ball, and we make our way towards Cerulean Cave. After beating up the guard, we gradually begin descending through the cave, until finally, we confront it. Mewtwo. I was waiting for you, Keegan. Great, now this big dumb idiot already knows my name. You know I can read your mind, right? Mewtwo basically says that if we even try to catch it, it'll cut off my arm before I can even throw a ball, which, honestly, is such an ice-cold line. Mewtwo then explains that it can still read the minds of the scientists whose DNA it shares, meaning Mewtwo can find Shigeki. But first, it wants to battle. And let me tell you, I was horrified. This thing is a level 70, and my team stands absolutely no chance. Except, it turns out that Mewtwo has no attacking moves. Brother. Seriously? So, with the power of plot armor, our humble Beedrill single-handedly slaughters the most powerful Pokemon ever created, like a piñata. This is your new god now. The masochist sub Mewtwo is very pleased with the beatdown and agrees to tell us what we want to know. And where is Shigeki hiding? In plainer sight than any of his former colleagues would believe. Turns out, Shigeki is this old man. You know, the guy who gets drunk and tries to show you how to catch a Weedle. This plot is so wild. But basically, we immediately go to confront the old man, who confirms that he is, in fact, Shigeki. And he'll tell us where we can find the Catastrophe, so long as we agree to keep his identity a secret. After agreeing to the terms, Shigeki reveals that the Catastrophe has been hiding right under our noses, right under the eastern shore of Cinnabar Island. So, we fly on over to Cinnabar Island and, oh my god, what is happening here? Okay, guys, I think I may have taken too much. Putting the small matter of the deteriorating fabric of reality aside, by surfing on the east side of Cinnabar, we find it, the Catastrophe missing no. I've already seen what this thing can do, and I do not want to mess with it. So, I immediately throw our Master Ball, containing the nightmarish glitch Pokemon. The old scientists then come over to congratulate me. Ha! Who in the world could stop us now? Us? Billy boy, I think you've gravely misunderstood what is happening here. Now the deadliest criminal in Kanto has possession of the most villainous Pokemon, and no one would be safe. Having just defeated Blaine, Blue emerges from the gym, and once he sees our Missingno, he's horrified as he realizes that he's seen it once before. Where? Where did you see it? I was just a kid then. I think it was in the basement underneath Grandpa's lab. What basement? I never heard about that section of his lab. With the existence of Oak's secret lab now confirmed, we immediately go to investigate to see what that sick old man has been up to. Although, when we arrive, the door is locked. However, Breaking and entering is my middle name. No, seriously, it actually makes my everyday life quite challenging. But with the unrivaled power of my holy crowbar, the lab door is forced open. Once inside, we have to fight off Oak's aides, but Missing No just mind crushes everything with its crazy super glitch attack, making these battles pretty straightforward. Poke around all you like. There's nothing to see here. Really? Even if I check behind that bookshelf over there? I hate you. Sure enough, after finding a secret hidden switch behind the bookshelves, we uncover a secret entrance to Oak's basement. But what could he be hiding? A new evolution? Ash Ketchum's anti-aging serum? Or maybe it's where Nintendo buried the bodies of the Palworld dev team. Either way, I need to find out. So, I descended into the basement. It's got an eerie purple glow and evidence of scientific experimentation all throughout it, along with these creepy statues that light up whenever you get close. And then, one of them literally jumped me. What is happening in this game? Anyway, as we proceed through the lab, we see Oak's diary entries, giving us more details as to the horrors that occurred here. And it is shocking. Basically, Oak concludes that a powerful trainer is more important than a powerful Pokemon. Therefore, this lunatic decides to combine Mew's genes in a genetic clone of a human boy. This man is absolutely twisted. The experiment was successful. The child was created and to be raised by a widowed woman in Pallet Town. He would be raised to trust and follow Professor Oak. Oak's final entry then concludes with the promise that, with Red by his side, in 10 years, he will once again rise to power. I will return with a vengeance. After exiting the lab, we return to the new Rocket HQ in Viridia. However, on the way, we're met by Red, who, as is tradition, we let right on by. Red continues on his way to the Pokemon League, but soon after, we also run into Giovanni. Keegan, you're here at last. I'm ashamed you should see me like this. I've been defeated in battle for the very last time. I can't face my followers any longer. It's time for me to move on. Take this as a final token of my appreciation, Keegan. So long. Our final gift from the boss contains a fat stack of cash. Thank you, boss. When I use this money to bribe a shady politician, I'll think of you. But more importantly is this letter. Dear Keegan, I'm not fit to lead Team Rocket any longer. But you, Keegan, you've grown much stronger than any of us, and your honor is still intact. Yeah, about that. So with my blessing, deliver our revenge on Red, Lance, and Oak. Use our infamy to its fullest, then disband the organization for good. I am giving you all the power and prestige that the criminal world has to offer. The power to steal from gym leaders, the Elite Four, and even the Pokemon Champion. This is to be your final promotion. Regards, Giovanni. That's right. Giovanni may be gone, but now I am the boss of Team Rocket, and I've got one last job to do. So, we headed west, through Route 22, towards the Pokemon League. However, on the way, we're stopped by Lance. Huh. Haven't you heard, bum? It's over. I'm no longer champion. Lost to some little kid from some middle of nowhere town. This guy is having a meltdown and decides to take out his anger on me, forcing us into a battle. But this guy is the former champion, so this is a huge step up in difficulty from our usual geriatric opponents. Lance leads with his Gyarados, so I bring in Tentacruel, who can not only set up toxic spikes, but our Scranton Strangler is just able to outpace Gyarados by spamming acid. However, Lance quickly gets the revenge KO with Aerodactyl, bringing it back to a 5-on-4. And this thing is a huge threat, so I send in our ace, the Glitchy Abomination. And despite being hit by two super effective ancient powers, our second super glitch thankfully hits the chance to freeze. As a result, Aerodactyl is defenseless and soon crumbles. Against the incoming Dragonair, I need to preserve Missing No, so switch into Ivan Marat, who somehow is able to land two double edges, slaughtering Lance's first dragon, and continuing to do the most, Raticate even lands another double edge onto the Kingdra that follows, before dying an honorable ratty death. From here, our win is all but guaranteed, as Fearow finishes off the weakened Kingdra with Drill Peck. And while Lance's ace is a huge threat, we've got the numbers to slowly chip away at the OG Pseudo, before one final thrash from Marowak slays the giant dragon. In our biggest win yet, Lance had been defeated, and since he was so willing to talk trash about Team Rocket earlier, I think it's time we teach him a lesson. And of course, what could possibly be a more perfectly evil punishment than stealing Lance's prized Dragonite? The disgraced former champion leaves in tears, and we have our newest criminal, Darmanite, a Pokemon that is undeniably criminal. I mean, it was evolved at an illegally low level, and Lance's Dragonite even has a history of committing violent assault. So, I approve. With Lance taken care of, we continued traveling towards the Pokemon League. Since we don't have any gym badges, we have to fight our way through all of the guards, but once we do, we're able to enter Victory Road. And since Red recently passed through, all of the boulder puzzles have already been solved, allowing us to clear through here with relative ease, eventually bringing us to Indigo Plateau, where our final plot for revenge will take place. Once stepping inside, we're met with a crowd of trainers, all shocked that children have conquered the Elite Four. Oh, and even Ronnie is here too. The TV then starts playing, showing an interview with Blue, the new champion, who, being the best Pokemon battler, also naturally becomes the supreme overlord and tyrant of the region. Because Pokemon logic, I guess. Bill soon arrives and reiterates that Red and Oak are already ahead of us, and that we absolutely must stop them. Although, the Elite Four guard refuses to let us through. But in times of peril, when you need someone to commit violent assault, who can we call upon? That's right, Ronnie. The former grunt unleashes his Raticate and hyperfangs the ever-loving life out of the guard. Wow, Ronnie, look at you, not messing up my mission. Brings a tear to my eye. Now we can proceed onto the Elite Four. However, all of them have already been crushed by Red, allowing us to pass on through uncontested. Oh, hey Lance, don't you dare say it. Want to see my Dragonite? I hate you so much! With that, we enter the final stage, the Champions Room. When we arrive, Oak is congratulating Red on his victory before the two of them disappear into the Hall of Fame. Left behind, Blue starts having a meltdown over his granddaddy issues. A short time later, a crowd is gathered as the new champion emerges from the Hall of Fame room, ready to give his inauguration speech. And wait, Red actually speaks? Oh my god! This character development is off the charts! Oak takes over, basically saying that Red suffers from severe social anxiety and can't speak publicly. Therefore, Oak will serve as the champion's mouthpiece. He then begins stating that this government will be tougher on criminals, and that his first order of business is to punish the former champion, Lance, for his incompetence. However, before Lance is sent to the Gulag, Blaine and Fuji arrive. They shockingly declare that Red cannot be champion since he's not a real human. In a panic, Oak quickly denies their claim before retreating back into the Hall of Fame room, locking the door behind him. Agatha then decides to side with her boy toy, Oak, using her ghosts to paralyze everyone in fear. However, we can sidestep this by using our Silph Co. Agatha then refuses to stand down, so we have to take on the old Hagatha in battle. But this fight is very straightforward, with Darmanite taking out half of her team. From there, we clean up the rest of her Pokemon with ease, meaning that not only have we stolen another senior's pension, we also get to swipe her signature Gengar in the process. With that taken care of, we can move on. Except, there's a problem. The door to the Hall of Fame is locked. However, you know I'm always strapped with that crowbar on me. This lets us burst through the door, confronting our two nemesis. And at this point, Oak starts speaking fluent Japanese. Seriously, he gets into his old man rambling mood and just goes on and on. But basically, Oak's monologue can be boiled down to how great his plan is and how Red is completely unbeatable. Stand tall, Rocket, and face him like a man. That's right. Now we have to fight Champion Red. The trainer who utterly embarrassed us during the first mission would be our greatest opponent. Red opens with his iconic Charizard, as I go with Tentacruel. Despite having the type advantage here, Charizard is so strong. As such, I'm only able to get up our 2 layers of toxic spikes before the Scranton Strangler goes down. To counter this, I send in Dragonite next, who, after an agility to boost our speed, can surf all over Charizard to finish it within a few turns. Red replies by sending in his own Dragonite, but since ours is faster, we're able to land a big super effective Dragon Pulse before Darmanite falls to a Dragon Tail. We're absolutely behind right now, but this is where I take control, as a Double Edge from Raticate can finish off the weakened Dragonite, and to switch into Marowak against the Pikachu that follows gives us another easy KO with Dig. Although Red's Lapras is a problem. Despite Marowak's best efforts to stall with Dig, Red full restores to heal up before Yo Mama the Marowak is utterly drowned out with Hydro Pump. And to make matters worse, a super glitch from Missing No barely does any damage to this Loch Ness tank. An Ice Beam instantly puts our ace on the brink of death. So, out of ideas, I just click Aeroblast and we get a critical hit! This huge slice of luck causes Lapras to fall, before Missing No also manages to stall out the big beefy Snorlax that follows. This leaves Red with only his Alakazam, and while it is a powerful Pokemon, crushing Missing No with Psychic, it's still no match for our OG Rat, who eradicates the frail Alakazam with one last all-powerful Double Edge. With that, Champion Red had been defeated, his pocket money stolen, along with the Charizard that embarrassed me back when I was a grunt. Seeing his prized prototype fall before his eyes, Oak is shook. No, it's not possible! Step away, kid. I'll handle this myself. Oh? You want to square up with me, old man? I'll snap those geriatric brittle knee bones of yours myself. Luckily for Oak's knees, Agatha intervenes. She begins apologizing for thinking that he was a coward for all these years and for failing to see his true vision. But Oak doesn't buy her change of heart whatsoever and straight up kills her. Jesus, Oak, that was hardcore, even by my standards. Having been backed into a corner and refusing to back down, Oak, a man who is undefeated in battle, intends to finish us off once and for all. This would be our final boss, the toughest old man in the entire region. Oak opens with his murderous Tauros, who instantly boosts its attack with Work Up. It's so strong that I'm only able to get a single layer of toxic spikes up before Tentacruel is pummeled into oblivion by Zen Headbutt. So, already on the back foot, I have to send in Missing No, and thanks to Tauros luckily missing a takedown, 2 Aeroblasts are all we need to finish the Raging Bull. Next, after a little switching on both sides, our Dragonite squares up to Oak's Gyarados, overpowering it with an onslaught of Dragon Pulses and Surf. This is followed by Exeggutor, who is annihilated by our Darmanite with a single super effective fly. This gives us some huge momentum, as a Surf from Dragonite also brings Arcanine to the brink of death, and once Dragonite falls, Marowak can pick up a clean revenge kill with Boomerang. From here, our win is guaranteed. Ninetales incinerates Oak's Venusaur with Flamethrower, before gradually chipping away at Jolteon. This clears the way for our Raticate, the starter that we chose right at the beginning of our criminal journey, to enter the field and with one final double edge, finish off our final opponent. With another old man beaten down, Team Rocket had exacted their revenge. Lance arrives with the police, ready to arrest Oak for violating his battling ban. Oh, and probably for murdering Agatha too. Oak frantically tries to update himself as the champion in the PC. However, our glitchy Catastrophe Pokemon corrupts the computer, thwarting Oak's final attempt at Kanto domination. With that, Red and Oak were arrested into police custody and, hey, grab the pink-haired Rocket as well. Wait, what? This is for taking my Dragonite, punk. Hey Rocket, welcome to the world of Pokemon. Ha 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 ha. So, that's how I ended up here. The boy, Red, was deemed incapable of being champion. He was too dangerous to ignore though, so his Pokemon license was revoked. That Slimeball, Oak, apparently there wasn't enough evidence to lock him up, despite me literally watching him impale a person with Tauros. Regardless, for breaching his battle ban, the old man was banished from Kanto. And as for me, the boss of Team Rocket, I took the fall for everything committed by the organization, and as the most heinous villain in Kanto, was sentenced to 9 long years behind bars. But one day, I'll be back on the streets, in search of my next geriatric victim. Jump into this video next for more Pokemon content, and subscribe if you want to see more violent crime in the world of Pokemon. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.